Good afternoon. This is Dr. V. Issa White, the Truth Teller. It's been some time since I've made a video. The last year or so, I've been very, very busy and occupied writing my new book, Blacklisted, The Price for Speaking Truth, that gives you a bird's eye view of how the real political system works today and how it is utilized to undermine voices that may go against the standard narrative of either party. And at that, if you go against this narrative and bring forth a truth that is relegated and needed for the American people and for the people on the earth at large, you will be attacked by your character. You will be attacked financially. You will be attacked with legalities, unjust laws, and arrest. And sometimes you will be attacked physically. This is the time that we live in now. This is what I call the new McCarthyism. So therefore, if you're a truth teller and a truth activist, and that you represent right, expect an onslaught against you, because that's where we live. This is the first manuscript that deals with the reality and the truth of what's taking place. Now, many of you know that I have put out 6 books, but this was the most difficult because I couldn't find a publisher. Even though I have published a number of books with university press and private press and public press, it was very, very difficult in this one because of what was in it and what it was being what it was being said in the book. Nonetheless, today I want to just briefly talk about some of the issues that's taking place. Of course, we have Trump that was over there in the Middle East and the United Arab Emirates. He was also in Saudi Arabia and in Qatar, and he had a very, very successful trip. We see him bringing in new deals and establishing American strength in those areas. Do I agree with everything that he has done? Of course not. But we have to look at the good that he has done, and we have to analyze the wrong or elements of things that I think that are wrong. But one of the things I want to talk about today is domestic issues. A few hours ago, a report came out that focused on the interview that former President Biden had with Chief Counsel Robert Hur. And in this interview, they found that former President Biden was really unfit for governance. He couldn't remember dates, he couldn't remember names, he couldn't even remember policy that he enacted. Worse yet, he couldn't remember when his son died or when his son was deployed. He didn't know anything. And it was found that within 2 years of his administration, he was basically a walking vegetable. What's so disturbing about this is that members of the Democratic Party, not only at the high end in Washington, but at the local end, we have people like Maxwell Frost, the congressperson, Val Demings, the former congressperson, state representatives, state leaders of the Democratic Party. They knew that this man was unfit for duty. They knew that he could not comprehend many of the issues that he said he had performed in doing. The question comes up as to who was leading the country, who was writing the executive orders, who was calling the shots. And this is very important because at the time we was in a conflict with Ukraine, that is a proxy war against Russia, supporting the Ukraine. We had the Gaza thing going on. We had the Yemen thing going on. We had the Haitian thing going on. We had the Sudan thing going on, along with many other issues that was taking place that could have put the American government, the American people, the American country in a position of destruction with the wrong move. But instead of Democratic leaders from Frost to the others to be honest with the American people and say that there is a problem and that this man should not be in government, that we should have a primary to determine who is the best candidate. They were willing to allow him to be the president, to run for a second term until he was exposed in the debate with Donald Trump, then to choose a person, not even going through a primary again, with Harris. And instead of them coming face to face with the American people and saying that we made a mistake, we were wrong, they try to camouflage it as if, well, let's move forward. Well, you put almost 400 million people at risk. And that was wrong. And again, your local leaders do not have the integrity to say what they have done. Instead, again, trying to camouflage it. And that is why we have a manuscript like Blacklisted. It talks about these things. I was the first to highlight it. Me. It talks about this type of hypocrisy, the contradictions that we have in our community, in our country. So, let's stay informed. Let's read. Let's study. And let's try to make a better country by making better choices as to who is elected for Congress, Senate, the Oval Office, your state assembly, your mayor's office, your council persons. Let's make better decisions. Friends, this is not about the party. It's not about Democrats versus Republicans. It's not about liberals versus conservatives. It's about right and wrong. It's about being on God's side. This is Dr. V. Issa White, the truth teller, and shortly another one will be coming. Have a good day.